Yeah.
Let me call this guy here. David, I'm calling you here from Cuba. Let's see what David has to say on what it is to have lived in Cuba for 15 years. David, if you're listening, I'm calling you. And the next person I'm calling right after this is Rolando Gonzalez. David, can you hear us? I called him. Do you want me to put him on speaker or what do you want me to do? He's on. David, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, David, so tell us your background, what you do, what your experience has been with Cuba, how many years you lived there. Give us a little bit about your background, 30 seconds.
Hey, Patrick, first of all, thank you. Thank you for having me. I came to this country when I was 18 years old. That was 6 years ago. I came by myself, no family, only a couple friends in here. I've been listening to you for a long time. I started my business listening to you. So I love this country, and one of the reasons I love this country is because you have at least two sides, and that's what people don't understand about Cuba. On the news right now, they're saying that we are protesting against COVID and against food, nothing like that. In response to Alan, what are they saying about that? Is because the news over here, they don't want to discuss against the socialists. And the only reason that we are protesting in Cuba is because of the communist regime, nothing else. We have been, for 62 years, we have no food, we have no liberty, nothing. So right now, we're tired of all that. And I'm sorry for my English. I learned
Totally fine.
You're good, bro.
You're doing a great job. David, tell me, are you in communication with your family in Cuba right now?
Yeah. So what they did yesterday, after the first day of everything goes to the street, they shut down the internet. So right now they got our entire country on shutdown. So the only way that we can speak with them is paying money over here or making them pay money over there, but they cannot share anything that is happening right now. So I spoke with my mom 20 minutes ago.
Much better.
They got on the smaller towns. They got on the center of the town.
Yeah.
They got the president on the speaker shouting like everything is okay. This is a fault of the United States because embargo. There is no embargo because they still have gas. They are millionaires, and the people from Cuba are hungry, and they are ripping the people from the United States here because we have to send anything to help our moms and our family in Cuba. Like, for example, Patrick, my brother is a doctor. He used to make $40 in Cuba a month. That is the highest salary.
How
in
much
Cuba.
money?
$40 a month.
Wait, let me get this straight. Your brother's a doctor. He made $40 a month is the highest salary in Cuba as a doctor.
As a doctor. And just to put that in perspective, right now, a Tylenol, like 10 pills of Tylenol for headaches, is $100 in Cuba.
Wow.
It's $100. So Alan, think about that. When you guys spoke about socialism and communism and the left wing, and I'm saying this, I really like you, and it's really good to have Democrat friends because I have Democrat friends, and all that's good. That you guys are good because we need two sides. You know, sometimes we are too over ourselves, and it's good to have two sides. But the side that is running this country, the Democrats, the main guys, they're all corrupt because they don't even want to talk about Cuba right now. Because a lot of Cuban voted for Biden because the same reason that you say, because you don't like Trump. And we don't like Trump either, but we know that this was going to happen. If we have Trump right now in business, even though that we don't like it, he was going to put a better position against Cuba. And the reason that Biden is not taking that position is because they are trying to protect their agenda, like the socialist agenda that they get. So my brother was a doctor. He made $40 in Cuba, so he had to go work 5-7 days a week, and after he finished saving lives with the motorcycle that he bought making bakery in our home, so he had to go to the doctor, save life, and then come back and spend 4 or 5 hours making like a small bakery to sell. We helping my mom, helping everybody, helping. That's the only way that you can survive in Cuba.
Let me ask you a question, David. When Trump announced the sanctions 9 months ago that he put on Cuba, where no American person can stay on a property in Cuba, I believe that's a Cuban-owned property. When he put those sanctions to hurt the economy of Cuba, to hopefully have a revolution where the people would go up against the government, how did the people in Cuba feel about Trump's sanctions he posed against Cuba?
Patrick, 95% of Cubans know that is good because they, even without that sanctions, they are still having bathrooms. For 62 years, there is nothing new. For 62 years, we have to send money from here to the Western Union, let's say. So what they do is they take your dollars, the dollar that I make, they keep it, and then they give you some monopoly dollars to the people. So right now, instead of making, if I send $100 from Cuba right now, they only give it like 80. And on paper that doesn't work for nothing. So everybody in Cuba, don't let like the news from here letting you otherwise. Everybody in Cuba knows that we have to be harder with the dictatorship, because even though these sanctions don't affect enough in the country, they only affect the people on power. They got Jackson Visa right now. Castro's sons, Castro's daughter, everybody is fleeing out. Raul Castro, he took a plane yesterday to Venezuela. So I've been texting to your program like for 4 months, 4 weeks ago, Patrick, because I know that you do a lot of interviews with everybody. I've been following for a lot of years, and I hope in the future you can do something about this. The main reason that we got this socialist influence in the United States right now is Cuba. Cuba is behind Venezuela. Military in Cuba is running Venezuela.
Well, first of all, David, thank you so much for giving us your perspective of where you're at, and appreciate you listening to this. Complete different perspective on what you said on what's going on with Cuba. Once again, thank you for your time, David. Appreciate you.
And Patrick, hello? Yeah,
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yeah, just want to shout out to my people in San Nicolas Valley. They came out to the street yesterday, but they're smaller towns. People in Havana, Camagüey, big cities is still out. And from my people here in the United States, I want to let you know this is what happened when you let people from the government take your guns. This is what happened with the government. It's too big. All this is stimulus check. That's what they do. They give you free money now, and then when they take it apart from you, 10 years, 15 years from now, you have nothing. So you cannot defend yourself. And Patrick, for the people that are saying that this is a civil war, this is no civil war, because we don't have guns. They are killing my people in the town. My people have nothing. Not even alcohol bottles with fire. They got nothing. And they kill a kid yesterday, 13 years old. The police kill a kid. And they shoot somebody on the face right next to my town. So they are killing my people. Don't let the news say otherwise. This is like Hong Kong, like everybody say. They are trying to say something different. No, my people is out the street. We don't have guns. We are trying to take the guns from the police, but we can't. We don't have guns. They got tanks. They got everybody. Everybody in the United States right now is asking for intervention, military in Cuba. We don't care what happens next. We just don't want the dictatorship there. For all that I care, I can go and take over Cuba and make Cuba the next Puerto Rico. Even if he want to stay, even if Elon Musk want to send Tesla factory and make everybody on Cuba work for the minimum salary, they can do that. We Cubans are a part of that. We don't care about the communists, the socialists. That's why everybody in Cuba is voting for Trump. Because something different was here. Every people here ask, oh, well, Cuban people vote for Trump because this situation. Every immigrant that is right here in this country right now, we have been running from a left government. Everybody's running here from the left.
Oh my gosh.
That's what we are right.
It's tough to debate that. Now this is firsthand. David, once again, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Appreciate it.
Anytime. What a perspective.
Wow.
What a perspective.
Don't you think we really have to follow what our reaction as a country is in Cuba? Other than saying we're monitoring it. I mean, don't we have to step in and help these people at some point?
Not militarily, though.
The perspective that the media gives you, they tell you the reason why this is happening is because of coronavirus. Jen, what's her name?
Jen Psaki.
She said it's because we need to send them more vaccine shots. That's why they're protesting. They're not protesting vaccine, buddy. This is not a vaccine protest. Yeah. This is not a COVID protest. This is they're sick and tired of a doctor making $40 a month, and Tylenol costs $100 for 10 pills. Right. You kidding me? And you heard what he said about the gun thing, where police killed a 13-year-old yesterday in the city, in the town right next to the town he was living in. Complete different perspective. I'm going to call the next person here. Rolando Gonzalez is a mechanical engineer from Cuba, moved at 26 years old, and has lived in Florida for the last 14 years. So 40 years old, 26 years in Cuba. Let's see what perspective he's got for us.
Two things. How about the fact that they shut off the internet? I mean, how horrific is that for everybody? They can't even communicate, and they took their guns. So forget about having a coup.
Hello,
how do you communicate?
They haven't had guns.
Rolando, how are you?
Hi, David.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I appreciate it. You take this time.
Anytime. So give us perspective. What do you think about what's going on? And if you're communicating with your family in Cuba, what did they tell you that's happening over there that the media is not telling us?
First than anything, I want to say thank you to you guys, Tom, Adams, Patrick, Kai, everyone's there for, help me to tell the world what is happening in Cuba. Shout out to David. He explained a lot. I think right now we are on big problems. I've been in communication with my family yesterday night. They was able to use VPN to get access to WhatsApp. And they don't know. I'm from a small town. They don't know anything about what's happening around there. I begin to send them pictures to them, and I helping them to put the other cell phones that they got through VPN also, so they can be able to see. The big problem is we don't have internet. They don't have communication in between. They shut down the lights. They're playing something now they call Plan Cacique, which is like take it out of the communication, take the towns. They mobilize regular people to fight on different towns. Let's say if you are from Miami, they take you from Miami to fight to Fort Lauderdale people, and then they bring people from Fort Lauderdale to fight Miami.
Why are they doing that? What's the reason for doing that?
Well, they say in Cuba you have to go to military service. It's obligatory, right?
Yeah.
So they prepare you for that, right? So what they're doing is they say, oh, these people are from, people that got influence from the United States, so let's gonna let's gonna bring us to what we need, our social shit, And there is communication between both ways. The problem is you are from a small town, you don't know anything what is happening in the town next to you, and they take you there. When they put you there, you don't know what you're fighting for, You were training to fight, an enemy from outside of the country, not to your own people. That's what they're doing. I sent Kai on the text a picture how they are like two policemen with a young kid that's 13-year-old that they killed. I sent you another video there also. You can put it after second 40. You can see how like 6-8 people beating to each other. It's crazy. What the police is doing is totally wrong.
Let me ask you a question. Who's creating this division? Is there division being created?
It's the government. It's the government.
So how are they pinning people against each other? What's their method of pinning people against each other?
Okay, so they go to your home, says, okay, we got an intervention and we need you be a part of this one because you're part of the reserve, right?
Yep.
They take you, they put you in another town.
Yep.
You don't have any news. You don't know anything. Like the same. You was talking about that news there that was totally wrong. It's the same with CNN. Yesterday night I was saying, what is this? They're getting the information so wrong. They don't get the right information. Everything that David said before was right. He was totally right. They're manipulating the information, going in and out. And here, the left is doing the same.
Let me ask you this other question. When you are somebody that lived in Cuba for 26 years, you've been here for 14 years, you're 40 years old. I'm assuming you got a family, right? You're a family man yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How do you see what's happening in America? Do you see any similar trends with what's happening here with what happened in Cuba? Do you see any similar trends?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I would say something pretty, shout out to Ben Shapiro yesterday, he said something pretty good. Let's take the people who doesn't love America, send them to Cuba. And let's bring the people who love freedom, bring them here.
Yeah, to do that, that's going to be absolutely impossible because AOC will have a very hard time selling her $20 sweaters for $60 in Cuba because even a doctor couldn't afford to buy her sweater in Cuba.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you,
right.
Rolando.
One question for him.
Yeah, go for it.
Sure.
What's your name again, buddy?
Rolando.
Rolando, un pregunta.
Yes, sir.
Other than the COVID, right? Obviously, that's changed the world. What's different now between 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago? Socialism, communism, Castro, they've been there. What's different now other than COVID?
Okay, first, you back like let's say a year ago, you got two currencies there. You can buy at least with that two currencies. Now you get paid on Cuban money, but you cannot buy on Cuban money. You have to buy with dollars. Then they say, no, we don't want dollars. We want euros now. So basically, they're paying you in Cuban money, but you cannot go and buy, let's say, a beer or just like cigarettes.
So you're saying the one thing that has changed is the currency that's accepted.
Well, again, this is just because they want the people from the outside pay their things. You know, let's say if I send now money to my family,
yeah,
They cannot. Let's say I put it here $100, $130.
Yep.
My family get $100, but they don't get $100. They get it in Cuban money.
Same
right?
thing David said, by the way.
They cannot go to the
pretty
store
crazy.
and buy food.
They're taxing them.
So
Right,
let me
there's
ask
no
you a
food
question.
scam.
So if you wire money from here, if you send money from here, Western Union, to your family in Cuba, they don't get all the money.
No, black market.
You don't do Western Union, is
market.
what he's saying. It's
You don't do Western Union over.
No, they go out of the country. They go out of the country. So it's basically, if you go through the government, you put like 130 here, you probably get like 80 there, but always they don't have money.
Rolando,
So let's say if I put it-
Rolando, who is covering the story on media? Like if you were to say a certain podcast, a certain news station, a certain newspaper that's covering the accurate stories of what's going on in Cuba, who would you say it is?
Okay. It's a radio guy from Miami that make an interview to Joe 12, which is a musician from Cuba who live in Miami. They're covering the history pretty good there.
What's his
I
name?
would say-
What's his name?
Joe 12
Jotuel?
is from the group Orichas. Yeah, Joe 12.
Can you write that down? Let's write that down.
It's
See what it is.
Youtel.
Youtel. If he's
like
Miami,
you
we'll
tell.
try to get a hold of
You
him.
tell.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, well, Youtel.
Youtel. Yotuel.
Yeah.
Yotuel.
These
Okay.
people are covering the history pretty good. I would suggest to go to Facebook and look for people who are posting videos, and all the news here and saying, oh, this protest was just on Sunday. It wasn't just on Sunday. It was Sunday, Monday, and still doing today again.
What's
Well,
the,
But
what's
we
the
are
one
getting
guy
the
that,
videos pretty late.
Ricky always
because
talks trash about Jorge Ramos. Is
Yeah.
that his name?
What-
What are your thoughts on Jorge Ramos?
I don't like it. I don't see any. Honestly, I don't see any Latin media at all.
You don't see any what? You don't see any what?
Oh, you mean for Univision?
Yeah.
Like Latinos,
Right.
Latinos media. No,
Yeah.
no Univision, no Telemundo.
Let me ask you a question.
Why
Why
that?
are so many Latinos in America not supportive of what you stand for? Why are so many Latinos in media who escaped socialism, who escaped the experiences they had, why are they not supporting, and I'm not talking about everybody. There's a lot of people that are. There's a lot of people in media that'll say it's not fair what's going on. And by the way, that could be on the left and the right. You heard what Rubio said yesterday. You heard what the mayor of Miami, Suarez, said yesterday. He was out there protesting. He was out there representing the people on
The
Sunday
regime
and
must
Monday.
end now. This is not negotiable.
Yeah,
That's
this
what
is
he
not
said.
negotiable. Why are so many people in media just kind of like, oh, it's COVID, it's vaccine?
Because first thing is, Patrick, language is a huge barrier, and a lot of people is coming from Cuba. They don't speak English. Even my English is pretty bad, but I can understand everything. People doesn't speak English, so the only way that they
That's
have
a
to
very
see
powerful
is
point.
whatever they see on media.
That's a
and
powerful
Telemundo
point.
is Univision.
That's
you know,
a very
that-
powerful point.
I would say, guys, I know what you're doing. I follow you guys, and I think it's pretty good the way that you're doing. Honestly, I open Google every morning, read the news, and the other way that I do is just go to your podcast.
Well, that's great to hear, and we appreciate the support. Rolando, thank you so much for giving us perspective on how things are going right now in Cuba, and we wish you and your family nothing but the very best, man. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Take
Right,
care. Bye-bye.
thanks.
How interesting is that? You hear about? It's crazy. Somebody commented, they said, now, has this become a right-wing podcast, is what somebody said.
No, not at all.
What part of what we just did? Do we know who Rolando is? I don't know who Rolando. I've never met this guy. Do I know who David is? I've never met David before.
randos.
We're getting perspective of what they're saying, but because the story and the narrative they're saying doesn't match what Telemundo, what Univision, and what CNN, and what MSNBC, or what some others are saying, this is automatically a right wing versus a group of people that are independent thinkers. Yes, you may be a little bit more center left. Yes, I may be a little bit more center right. Yes, you may be a little bit whatever different feelings that we have. But automatically, look where identity politics goes. You automatically go, that's what this person is. That's what that person is.
So let me just say something
Yeah.
here. I'm born and raised in Miami. I've grown up with Cubans, born and raised in Miami. I mean, I lived up until moving up to Boca, a mile outside of Little Havana. I tons of Cuban friends. I know the mayor very well. I have tons of Cuban friends. And this is nothing new, meaning they've been They came here in the late 70s, early 80s. Obviously, people came here in the 1950s after Castro, but the people I know have been here for a long time. This is nothing new in regards to we've known what socialism and communism has done to Cuba and Venezuela for years. What I think is happening now, where the COVID thing is one of the things that Cuba gets recognized for is their socialized medicine and socialized education. And that is clearly falling apart right now. COVID has exacerbated the problems that exist in communism. Now there's food shortages. Obviously, they turned off the internet, social unrest, high food prices, collapsing infrastructure. Kai, I actually went to Cuba. I don't know if we want to pull this up right now, but this is nothing new. Miamians have been talking trash about Cuba forever.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.